the ups and downs I've been through with this game, and it's crazy to say because I'm still so young, but I've been through it all. Lost a couple coaches now, and it's just helped me learn and center myself around me because that's who is the most important person at the end of the day is the man in the mirror, and I've got to take care of myself and my family, and it's just helped me.
The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. March 4th, man, UFC 285. You're back on a pay-per-view event, back in front of a crowd, back in that energy, back in that environment. What did you learn from your first experience on a pay-per-view card that's going to help you entering this fight?
Um, I didn't learn much. Actually, of course, I always learn
Mm-hmm.
something, but I guess it's a bigger atmosphere to say. But of course, that one was in front of my hometown, and I don't want to say that there was added pressure, but I definitely felt it, and it sucked. But what can I do but move past it and look forward? So for this next one, I just can't let the live crowd get into it too much. As much as I love fighting in front of a crowd and gaining that momentum when a big shot is landed, I just got to keep my calm and just go out there and fight my fight.
Your upcoming fight, man, your upcoming opponent, Cameron Saaiman, undefeated prospect, pretty young. You're young, but he's really young. What are your thoughts on him and the stylistic matchup?
I love it. When my manager first told me about it and the fight was offered, I was all for it, man. And I haven't been this excited for a matchup in a while. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for every matchup, but knowing that Cameron is there's a good chance he's going to be down to stand and make it a stand-up affair really just got me going. Of course, with any fight, anybody can turn into a wrestler, and maybe that point in this fight could happen and he could shoot in for a shot. But I definitely see a stand up, and it just got me excited, man. It got me pumped, and I guess there's a lot of hype behind him, which I have not paid attention to. And I've mentioned it before. It's no disrespect, but I try to worry about myself at the end of the day. I understand that he's undefeated. I understand he's young. Few years younger than me, which isn't much, but I was once at that point, and there was a bunch of hype around me coming through Fury and the regional scene, but all that hype eventually dies out, or it's the hype train can get derailed eventually.
We've been talking for a while, even before the UFC, and it seems like you're in a much mature place in your career compared to like when I first talked to you. Do you feel that in yourself?
For sure, for sure, and I'm glad you noticed that. It's just the ups and downs I've been through with this game, and it's crazy to say because I'm still so young, but I've been through it all. Lost a couple coaches now, and it's just helped me learn and center myself around me because that's who is the most important person at the end of the day is the man in the mirror, and I've got to take care of myself and my family, and it's just helped me learn about myself a lot, and I'm very grateful and thankful for it. It's looking back and reflecting, I could have easily quit, gave up after one coach, after my second, but that's not in me, and I know this is all a part of writing my story, and it's going to be a nice, bright picture at the end of the day.
There you go. Now back to your opponent. He had a fight on the Contender Series. He had the UFC debut. It seems like he gets stronger as the fight goes. Is that something you noticed, or do you think it's just his opponents, they fade and then he takes over?
He might get stronger, but yeah, yes, his opponents do fade, especially his past fight in I want to say it was in Florida, Jacksonville, somewhere in Florida, but it was definitely in Florida, and yeah, I think Kozlo took that fight on a week's notice, so I don't think his cardio was up to par. Unlike mine's will definitely be there, but yeah, it could be a mixture of both him getting stronger, or definitely I lean more towards his opponents fading. So we'll see. We'll see how it fares if we do end up going, late second, early third round, or third round period.
Your fight against Brandon Davis, man. You're coming off a loss. You got that victory. That second round. How much fun were you having?
Oh, I was doing my thing, man. And it's so unfortunate because my prior coach, kind of bitch me out going into the third round. But you could just tell when I'm in my groove, in my flow, bro, and doing my little swag, I guess you could say, having too much fun. I feel like I'm untouchable. And there was times I was obviously getting touched, but I'm finding my groove. I'm finding myself in that cage, and as much as I've hated going to decisions, my past three fights, it's been very good for me in my experience, man. Like I said, it helps me and allow me to get my groove, and eventually that finish or those finishes will come, and it can start March 4th.
It was one of those situations where you had like 5 more seconds, it would have been over with, right? Like Herb Dean, you know what I mean? Like, come on, this dude.
Yeah, and that's in literally Herb, said that at the after, in the locker room, 10 seconds more and that fight would have been over with.
Mhm.
And I can assume, what would have came afterwards with that win, but
Mhm.
it's all good. Like I said, it's part of my plan, part of my destiny, and come March 4th, we're shooting for that first finish.
Were you pretty banged up after that fight?
No, no. I was ready to go, man. Fortunately, I didn't get any more news for the rest of the year, but I'm a little bit banged up right now, as you can tell. Obviously, got a little nice little shiner, a couple weeks out from the fight, but that's just from wrestling, accidental headbutt. So I was like, I'll go ahead and rock the interview just like this. It's like I mentioned, a headbutt, so I'm not even worried about anybody seeing it or what they can think about it.
Well, I've interviewed a lot of fighters and I've seen a lot of black eyes during training camp,
Yeah.
so it's nothing, nothing. It's almost like if you don't have one, you're not training hard enough or something.
Hey, that's a great way of putting it. And that's what I mentioned to a lot of people. They're like, oh, how do you feel going into this fight? I said, man, if you ever go into a fight 100% or, not with the slightest or tweakest of injuries, you might not have been training so hard. And, this is kind of showing of it. I've obviously been putting in the work training as I do every camp, and it shows, yeah.
And it looks like you're back in Houston for training camp. Where are you working?
I'm currently at Main Street Boxing and Muay Thai with Coach Bob Perez. He's most reputable and known for being the Knockout Kings coach, and it's been awesome training with him. He's definitely got that knockout power, that knockout side to me, and he's brought it out. Whether it's with our pad work, our bag work, drilling, and come March 4th, I feel like it's going to be shown.
What differences have you noticed? I mean, you've had a few switches over the past couple of years. You had the Metro Fight Club, and then you went to Glory, and now you're with Main Street. What little tweak is different about that team?
To be honest with you, like the tweaks and the differences I've noticed is my prior camp, and there's nothing wrong with it. I feel like I was turning slightly too much into of a finesse fighter, too much moving and grooving, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? And my prior style to that, I feel like I was more brute, and it obviously showed with my knockouts. So now that I've had those two past experience, those two are meshing and molding together, and everything's clicking, man. I definitely feel like March 4th, the world's gonna see, and what better opponent to do it against someone who's undefeated, a young and up and coming guy, and like I said, people might be overlooking me, but I'm still young, up and coming as well, and none of the hype bothers me. But those two styles, I feel like, are definitely meshing and molding together at the right time, and it's all gonna be shown.
Is Coach Bob Perez, is he taking like full reign of your camp? He just kind of controls everything for you?
Yes, 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 yes. And I've got my father, of course, always in my corner. He's actually in town, so we've been working a lot, tweaking some small things, and it's gonna be fun March 4th, man. I can't wait. It's the biggest card of the year, and it's gonna be hard to top this card, especially with John Jones's return. But bro, from bottom to top, it's stacked. I want to say I seen Man, it was like I seen something on Twitter. It was like UFC 205, and they had like Islam. I mean, not Islam. They had Khabib on the undercard against Michael Johnson, and they're like, man, they don't make cards like this anymore. And I'm like, bro, 80 cards later, you look at UFC 285 from top to bottom, it's absolutely stacked, bro. You got John Jones main event. You got freaking Bo Nickel. You got just top to bottom, just stacked, bro.
You're back in Houston. Is there anything new about Houston? Like, is there anything you added to your routine? Maybe strength and conditioning or recovery treatment, anything like that?
Yeah, I've been taking care of my body with my new strength and conditioning team. Coach Gabe, he's been helping me out a lot. Coach Mac, both those guys at SB training, and they've been helping me out with my recovery as well. That's one thing I've been lacking these past few camps, and they've been talking to me about helping me out with my therapy, my rehab, doing certain things like plunge ice cold plunge baths, which I was never a fan of or did before, and it's just been making my body feel amazing and helping me get through these tough, grueling sessions. Because over there at Main Street, man, it's a doghouse up there. Because not only do you have the MMA fighters, you got the boxing guys, and you got top high level guys like Regis in there. You got Oshaka Foster, who just won the belt this a couple weekends ago. So it's a doghouse up there, man, and we get banged up, you know, our bodies through the grind we push, and just as much as we grind, we got to help ourselves and recover and kind of going down the rabbit hole. But you see LeBron's legacy and him breaking that scoring record, and that's all because of recovery, man. He's openly said he spends over $1 million in recovery and what he does. So I've been trying to, take that approach to it and thinking about taking care of my body. That way, when I go into fight night, I'm as best as I can be.
Has this camp been a lot of new faces, as in like training partners, or are there some familiar guys that you trained with before that are helping you?
There's a couple, but for the most part, it's a bunch of new faces, new bodies, and they're all great training partners, man. Yeah, it's been awesome, man. Sometimes when you go to new gyms, you're the new guy, and they try to give you that, green light, and oh, let's get this UFC fighter out of here. But man, they've been all welcoming and accepting, and great bodies over there.
Seems like you mesh really well with that team already, man. It's sometimes it takes a camp or two, but it seems like
Yeah, yeah.
you're in there.
Yep, since day one, and like I said, training with Coach Bob and him, I've said this before, watching me grow up through the regional scene and unfortunately fighting several of his guys and him being in the opposite corner of me has really, helped him know my style. And the first day I walked in, he's like, all right, we're gonna adjust this to your stance. We're gonna do this to your this certain combo. I noticed you lean this way, you do this. So we fixed so many things in a matter of, sometimes it would take years to fix with a brand new coach. And so that was definitely a helping deciding factor into choosing that team, was somebody I knew who was familiar with my game and not just completely brand new. So huge props and shout out to Coach Bob. It's been great, and this is the first of many camps with him.
That's phenomenal, man. Like, yeah, he studied you before even like thinking about working together, which is wild. And I've seen that happen before in MMA as well, man. Guys that have coaches that have coached against a fighter and like a couple fights, and then next they're training with that coach.
You see it everywhere, from the regional scene to the highest levels. Like I've seen some guys, I'm like, oh, he's cornered by him now. Oh, that's kind of crazy, but it works out in the end, and you just got to do what's best for yourself at the end of the day, and I feel like that's what's best for me. So come March 4th, we're going. Let's go.
Yeah, you got two close wins on the scorecards. It's just because of the scorecards. You know what I mean? What type of performance are you expecting in this fight?
I'm expecting a finish, and with Cameron's style, I think the finish will definitely be there. So yeah, whether it be with the hands, submission, however I look to finish a fight, I can definitely see a finish, and stylistically, it'll be open for me.
Last question, man. Is it Texas barbecue or Tex-Mex? What is number one?
That's a good one. So somebody asked me Texas barbecue or Kansas before when I was staying in Kansas, and I had to write Texas barbecue. Oh, you stumped me on this one, bro, because I love my steak, but I also love my tacos.
I can't choose, man. I'll take
And
both.
then you have like brisket for
Yeah.
barbecue. Then you got like nachos.
Yeah.
See, this is how you know I've been dieting because
Yeah.
I'm just drooling over here. But yeah, you got to go with both, bro. Texas overall has some great food, and see a lot of people talking about like California's got good food, bro. You come to Texas, you can get seafood, you can get barbecue, you can get you can get all types of food, man. So Texas food overall, A1.
March 4th, man. UFC 285 in Las Vegas. Mana, thank you so much for the time. Everybody go in the descriptions, download the AllStar app. Excited to see you back. Crazy matchup.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Always good talking to you. And you can just hear how excited I am, man, just talking and interviewing with you. So everybody tune in March 4th, and it's going to be fireworks, baby. Let's go.